Yeah, it's been very hard to win this heat, but yeah, I do.
Loris Hazemans was really close to you as you went towards the checkered flag.
Yeah, he managed very well the tire, and in the last lap he is quicker than me. But for the final, I hope to stay more calm the first laps and go to the end with tire in a good condition.
You finished in 10th place at Brands Hatch, your best result of the year. You will certainly want to try and improve on that this evening.
Yes, because at Watkins I was pretty fast, but in the big one, the start, my race finished in that crash. So I want a revenge here in Zandvoort.
Well, good luck. Good luck. Thanks for joining us in coaching. Well done on the heat win.
Thank you.
So there we go, Alessandro Brigatti. We'll let him go because he's only got 10 minutes to sort of, get the nerves back under where he needs them to be, and maybe grab a quick bit of water and relax before we get the last chance race out of the way and move on to the main championship race. Now, this last chance race is all of the drivers that finished outside of the top 10 in their respective heats. It's a very, very full grid of cars. It is only the top 6 that now go through, and the top 6 in this race will start in grid positions 31 through to 36 for the main championship race. Now, Andre, of all of the races, the last chance race is usually the one that's rather interesting, I'm going to put it.
There's very nice wording. Yeah, very nice wording. Interesting is very nice. I think chaotic is the right one. But look at the front. We have Gabriela Gilkova in pole position, a driver who has not competed in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series before. So let's see how she can do. She's representing the Autodrome Rust. So let's see if she can make it a flag-to-flag win. Then we have Chris Richard, a very experienced driver, former WTCR driver. Then Alain Moscaron, the French guy, the reigning Club Challenge champion for DF1 Racing. So we have a lot of experienced guys there, and also some of those who are not so familiar with sim racing. And it's only 6 spots, so this race is always on fire.
Yeah, and there's some quick drivers down towards the back as well that have got work to do. Scott Jeffs down in 17th place. Watch out for him. You could argue that Sebastian Bleekie-Molen should be a little bit higher up. We've also got Justin Kuntz down in 21st position. So watch out for him. And I'm not quite sure what happened in his heat. Advik Dioda, who was a front runner in EuroNASCAR 2 last year, but hasn't actually claimed an overall win in his NASCAR career. He's got a bit of work to do from way down in 23rd position. So there's lots of guys further down through the order that are going to want to pick their way through. Now, if there is an incident, that will help them as long as they can scrabble their way around it. They might pick a few more up, but let's hope that it goes clean, and let's hope that we might see Gabriela Gilkova also getting inside the top 6 and seeing that Autodrome Most car get through. But we've got 10 minutes of racing coming up to try and sort out who are the top 6, who are going to go through. Guillaume de Flandre is another one, and Fred Gabillon down in 8th and 9th place. They've got a bit of work to do to try and automatically get through and qualify for the main championship race, which will not be 10 minutes, it will be 30 minutes. The race after this that is coming up. The 2 Bleekie-Molen cars, nose to tail as well, on something like the 7th or 8th rows of the grid, those 2 cars. So the safety car is about to pull off. We're about to get things underway with Chris Ricard sitting there alongside the car of the pole position city, which is Gabriela Gilkova. And as they head up towards the start-finish line, final 10-minute race coming underway before we then head to our 30-minute main championship race. That's the one that carries the points. This is just to qualify to get through to the championship race. Red lights on, red lights go out, and it's a good start from Gabriela Gilkova, who gets the jump on the rest of the cars. All neat and tidy so far, but Gilkova is now coming under attack. All right, as soon as I say it's neat and tidy, then we get the big incident, and it looks as though, again, Ander Villarino has got caught up in that. Sebastian Bleekie-Molen has got caught up. Chris Lehman is caught up, as is Max Palumbo caught up as well. But it is Gabriela Gilkova that leads the race. Alain Muscaron is sitting there in 2nd place, but under pressure from Chris Ricard, who's there in 3rd place. And Francisco Garisto is looking to try and hang on to 4th place as things stand. He has got right behind him Gasper Dunovsek, who's as we go on board with Gasper Donofsik, looking at the Ford that lies ahead, up towards the braking area. There's a sideways Alan Muscaron directly ahead. I think Alan Muscaron has got caught up in an incident as well there, and also now getting turned around. Yeah, that is car shuffling all the way down through the order. Car number 146, Gasper Donofsik, also gets caught out. We've also got Garisto getting turned around, and all of that has meant that we've had a big shuffle in the order, and Fred Gabion all of a sudden at the wheel of his Toyota, the number 3 car, is up into something like 5th position. So a bit of shuffling in the order there as a result of, well, a large incident again, for which my computer really struggles when we get some of the larger incidents. The graphics are fantastic, but it's not been built for a gaming PC. It's been built to do other things, and that's when it struggles, unfortunately. And we've got a big gap, haven't we? 4-second lead now for Gabriela Gilkova. And who's up into second place, Andre? Guillaume de Flandre, the race winner from Brands Hatch.
Yeah, for him, the race could not get any better. I think those 2 major accidents we saw really shuffled up the order, but the Autodrome Masters, again, the track, the real NASCAR Euro Series track, celebrating at home in the Czech Republic, because last week it was Michal Smidl, now we have Gabriela Gilkova doing a great job. I think Autodrome Masters is very well represented here in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series. And then we have, well, you said, Guillaume de Flandre, the Brands Hatch winner. Then Henry Tourmala, also very nice to see him in the top 3. Alain Moscaron is on 4th place on my screen. Then Gabion, Justin Kuntz.
Yeah, Gabion's had an incident though, and he's now carrying a whole chunk of damage. More cars go off. Scott Jeffs is off in the barriers as well. So just as Gabion had worked his way up through the order, all of a sudden he tumbles back down through the order. It's the same for Justin Kuntz, I think, who got caught out there. And it's on the replays that we might be able to pick up what happened. There's a replay of the start again, with cars sort of braking drivers left and braking drivers right, and half a dozen of them involved. Here is getting spun around the 146. That is Gasper Donofsik, who got took out and then caused another chain reaction, which I think Justin Kuntz was involved in as well. And that's why now the 99 for DF1 is carrying some damage, and you can see the damage to the front of the number 3 as well, which is Fred Gabion's car. All of this has rather helped Brian Kruls, who, if memory serves me correctly, he was one of those that was facing backwards on turn number 1, heading up towards Tarzan, got caught out in the start line incident, and is now back up into 7th position. What a recovery drive from him. Bert Longines is also now up into 9th position, having picked off Fred Gabion, who I think, Andre, is going to be destined for the pits, isn't he? He just can't carry that amount of damage and carry the speed as well.
Yeah, the realistic model in iRacing is very realistic, the damage model. If you hit the car, the aerodynamics are gone, you can brake the steering, you can have problems with the tires, with the engine, with the heat of the engine and stuff like that, so you have to be very careful when you have a damaged car. So let's see what the guys with those cars without any front bumpers left can do in this race, but everybody's very aggressive, and that's what we were expecting in this last chance qualifier heat, because only the top 6 get through to the main race, and we have 25 drivers who want to get one of those spots, and yeah, this causes a lot of chaos. And it's the same it was the same at Daytona, at Brands Hatch, at Watkins Glen, and so on. So yeah, we were a little bit expecting that.
Yeah, we were, and it is going to mean that we are going to have a shuffling on now. Have we got a battle for the lead on? Yes, we have, and I think Guillaume de Flandre is going to try around the outside to take the lead of the race away here from Gabriela Gilkova, but Gilkova's having none of it at the wheel of the Autodrome Most Car Show car. De Flandre gets a better run coming out of the next corner, though, and has the inside line as they head up towards the right-hander. And Guillaume de Flandre now goes for the lead of the race, and I think he's going to be able to hang on to it there. So that is a change for the lead. Guillaume de Flandre now picks up the lead of the race. Gabriela Gilkova now down into 2nd position, but that is still automatic qualification, albeit for the last 3 rows of the grid for the main championship race. We are now halfway through this last chance race. Gilkova down into 2nd place. Henry Tourmala up into 3rd. He started in the mid-teens. Sydney Alan Muscaron is 4th. Advait Diodar is 5th. And 6th at the moment, the last of those that would automatically qualify, is Yevgeny Sokolovsky, the German driver, the 41-year-old. Brian Kruls, though, is looking to try and take that place away from him. And he's got the inside line heading up in towards Tarzan. And it does look as though the team member for Brax, who usually is involved with the number 91 car. His Brax Racing Ford is through and is now up into the last automatic qualification spot. And what a drive that has been from him, from getting caught out in that start line incident, tumbling all the way to the very back of the grid, with then the next lot of incidents he's been able to pick his way through, and he's into automatic qualification. Fantastic job, and that's what he's done all year, really. He finished 6th overall at Brands Hatch. Andre, he's a quick guy.
Yes, he's very good at sim racing, but I think Yevgen Sokolovsky still has a chance to get into the top 6, because I think there was a penalty showing for Alain Moscaron, so the 4th place guy may shuffle back when he has to serve this penalty. I'm very sure that there was such a penalty, so we have to wait a little bit and see if the 299 will head to the pits. So maybe Yevgen Sokolovsky will advance to the main race due to this penalty that Alain Moscaron was given.
Yeah, we'll have to see on the screen that I look at. I don't see the penalties coming up, but I've got 3 screens working, and the screen they're on is a bit out of my eye line, so I need to adjust that to pick up on them. Guillaume de Fronde leads the race. We're looking at Justin Kuntz at the moment, who is just missing out on automatic qualification, the number 99 car. Now, the lap time that he set last time through was 1 minute 43.1. That was 0.2 of a second quicker than Brian Kruls was doing. So it may well be that he is able to gain a position. And you're right, yeah, Alain Moscaron does indeed come into the pit lane. You're absolutely right, Andre, about that penalty. So Moscaron heads down pit lane. He's going to come out, mid-teens, I would have thought, by the time he's served his drive-through penalty. So that's going to put him out of automatic qualification. But it does now move back into the automatic qualification spots, as you suggested. Yevgeny Sokolovsky for Marco Steep Motorsport. Bouncing over the curbs goes the number 48 car there of Santu Berksadoria, the Scandinavian V8 Thundercar racer, who has also been involved in the recruitment programme. Great to see more and more Scandinavians getting on board with the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and so many of them also in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series. As for Moscaron, I said he'd come back out mid-teens. Well, he came back out in 14th position, Alain Moscaron, and he's got Ricardo Alita directly ahead of him, looking to try and apply the pressure to the car that sits there in 13th place, having served a drive-through penalty at the wheel of that 299 DF1 Racing Chevy. Now, as for lap times, what's happening in terms of drivers catching each other? Justin Kuntz has eased his pace a little bit now that he knows in the automatic qualification spot, so he's no longer catching Brian Kruls to the degree that he was. Sebastian Bleekie-Molen at the wheel of the number 69 Team Bleekie-Molen car, carrying a chunk of damage, all the front and the rear bodywork missing off that one. He's now being passed by Scott Jeffs, who's looking to try and carve his way back up through the order at the wheel of the number 90 Brax Racing machine. But they are outside of the top 6 currently, in 9th and 10th positions respectively. Let's have a quick replay. Here's Francesco Garisto, nice and neat and tidy on the way into the corner, but too much power on the way out, and that's put Garisto into the wall, unfortunately, right towards the tail end of the race, and will cost him quite dear. 3rd place for another Finnish driver, Henry Tumala, the wheel of the number 23 car. Tumala was the Challenger champion last year in the 2019 season. The Challenger category is for amateur drivers that head into the NASCAR or EuroNASCAR Pro division, and he was the winner of that, the champion of it overall. So a quick driver, but he is not really going to be able to put any pressure in the closing stages of this one. And why would you? Because he's comfortably in automatic qualification, sitting there in 3rd place. And these 2 cars now that we look at are the 2 that are fighting for the last qualification place. And Yevgeny Sokolovsky makes a mistake there, and that's going to allow through and past Stefano Gustavaye. So the Cal Racing machine goes through and ahead of the Marco Steep Motorsport car, and that now puts Gustavaye up into the final automatic qualification place. So that would mean that he would line up at the very back of the main championship race that's coming up in just a few moments' time. As for our race leader, the Flandre, well, he is just about to take the checkered flag at this stage. This guy here, Bert Longines, number 411, has had a great charge from the tail end of the field, applying pressure to Scott Jeffs for 8th position. Gives him a bit of a nudge going towards the chicane there. And I don't think he's going to be able to gain the place by the look of things. Top three have already taken the checkered flag. Guillaume de Flandre will claim the win and will line up 31st in reality for the main championship race coming up in a few moments. Gabriela Gilkova second. Henry Tuamala finishes in third place. Bran Kruls in fourth place. Justin Kuntz in fifth. And the final qualifying car that will head on to the main race, but at the very back of the grid is going to be that car there. Car number 388, Stefano Gustavaye, is the last of those that qualifies. So anybody else outside of the top six, they are done for the night, unfortunately. They have not quite made it through, and that must be rather gutting, I would imagine, for Yevgeny Sokolovsky, who looked as though he was just going to hang on to that final qualification place, but it wasn't to be, and still the incident's happening as they come over the start-finish line. But Guillaume de Flandre claims a last chance qualification race. So the top 10 in each one of the heats have automatically gone through, so the top 15 rows of the grid already decided. This last chance race is just to sort out who's going to line up on the final 3 rows of the grid, and it is going to be Guillaume de Flandre that will line up on the inside of the 16th row of the grid. Rest of the cars just making it back around and in towards the pit lane area, including Igor Romanov, who finished in 17th position in the end. So Igor again will take the checkered flag and I think be the last of the cars to take the checkered flag. Francesco Garisto finishes in 18th place. He had an interesting race, did Francesco Garisto, so we should be able to get confirmation of the results then before we then start to head towards our final. And we'll see. There we go. Confirmation of the results then. Only the top 6 go through to form the final 3 rows of the grid for the main championship race, which will be held over 30 minutes, remember. Guillaume de Flandre claims the win. Gabriela Gilkova in second place and Henry Tuamala in third. Brian Kruls, Stefano Gustavaye and Yevgeny Sokolovsky will be the next of the cars that will make it through to the main race. But 7th place onwards, they are out for the evening. Scott Jeffs finishes in 7th place. Bert Longines finishes in 8th position. 9th place goes the way of Santu Vorzadoria, and then Alan Muscaron in 10th place. Ricardo Alita, Sebastian Bliski-Molen, Gasper Dinovsek, Michael Stolman, Justin Kuntz, Max Lancer, Igor Romanov, and Francesco Garisto bring us all the way down into 18th position. Adric Dioda and Ander Villarino wrap up the top 20. You can see the rest of the finishers from there on in. So we will, I'm sure, probably not get our last chance winner.